Hi, I'm Ruthie Foster.
And I'm Eric Bibb.
And you're watching BMA Backstage. If I know what I know today, 10 years ago, I wonder where I'd be on my journey now. Well, I'm here this evening, and I know what I'm here to do. I'm here to give thanks for the joy of living my life with you.
I met Ruthie Foster on a festival stage in Canada about a dozen years ago, if memory serves me well. I heard her sing and was just flabbergasted, really. I just thought, I haven't heard a voice like that in, well, since my old records, you know, listening to people like Mahalia. And I just said to her after the workshop, Ruthie, if you would, I hope you'll find an hour or two to record with me tonight. I'm going to hook up an impromptu recording session because I can't let you get away. I have to have it. I had a song in mind that had been just waiting for her, and we'll probably do that tonight. But that's how I met Ruthie.
I came about the blues very naturally. It was my father's, it is still my father's favorite music. He would make me these cassette tapes, if we remember cassette tapes, of Lightning Hopkins and Muddy, and even a little bit of Ike and Tina Turner, and you know, just a lot of old country blues stuff. And that was when I was about 10 or 11. I was just starting to want to get into playing guitar. Yeah, so I did more listening than anything for those first few years. I think that's just, you know, just kind of let it soak in while I was figuring out the guitar.
Really, the gateway to this career that I enjoy so much is my dad, Leon Bibb, a wonderful singer who at the age of 92 is still singing. My dad was part of a whole Renaissance, folk music, theater music renaissance in New York when I was coming up. So through him I met many of my heroes, got to hear a lot of great musicians. My uncle is also a musician, the great late John Lewis from the Modern Jazz Quartet. He's my mother's brother.
Sometimes it gets so hard to find tells a story for me. And coming up from a gospel background, the story seems to me to be in how you sing and where you go when you sing, which I still use in the way I sing. You know, when I want to sing hard and when I want to back off a little bit, the story's in there. But blues tells a story, and that's what I'm most connected with.
Blues is just a fascinating part of the culture. It's a language, really, in itself. Blues people, blues language, that whole Southern way of relating to each other and the community through back porch music really just grabbed my soul early on. I thought, this is something that's not something you find every day. You don't find it in music schools. You find it in the people. You find it in the way your great uncle talked. You found it in a story that somebody told you about a bootlegger, and it just resonated. And the more I researched this music, the more I found fascinating personal stories, collective stories, people hoboing it up the line, you know, to make a gig. You know, we have it easy, but my heroes were people who walked, hitched rides, and hoboed to the next port of call. And that whole folklore is just rich for me.
There's so many. I can start with Sister Rosetta Tharpe, being a guitar player myself, and coming from gospel, and kind of branch out from that to Sam Cooke. There's Mahalia Jackson when it comes to the power and using your voice. There's nobody like that anymore. You know, it goes on, but that's the deep-rooted. That's where I come from, and Mavis Staples, you know, someone who's with us still, and still touring and still lending her voice to the universe, man. Yeah.
The whole connection between the blues and the gospel sides of the street that we all grew up on is fascinating. You know, there's this separation sometimes that people talk about, cliches like the devil's music and church music, but for me, they're just cousins, you know, blues and gospel music. Somebody like Mavis Staples, who's known for her great spiritual singing and gospel roots, was accompanied and tutored by her father, the great Roebuck Staples, who learned guitar from one of the great country blues icons, Charlie Patton. So all of those threads, they just cross over each other all the time. Lead Belly is somebody I listened to coming up. Mississippi John Hurt, Ruthie plays some of John Hurt's music as well. Quiet Southern gentleman farmer who finger picked like a god. And it just was like breathing for him. He was just making beautiful front porch music, yeah.
I'm building a new home called the county line. I'm building a new home called the county line. Up on a high hill where the view so fine. Down in the lowlands, water tastes like turpentine. Down in the lowlands, water tastes like turpentine. I'm going up to country where it tastes like cherry wine. I made a piece of money, I won't say how. I made a piece of money, I won't say how. I bought my own 40 acres, my own mules and breaking cow. I bought my own 40 acres, I don't have to scrape and mow. heard a voice talking like radio in my head. I heard a voice talking like radio in my head. Now I'm about to tell you people just what it says. I put your feet on solid ground, by and by. I put your feet on solid ground, by and by. Now when the river gets to rise, you be high and dry.
To me, it's like he's just kin. He's kinfolk for me. You know, we were in the studio today, and you know, yeah, I didn't want to be up this morning, but you know, it's Eric. So you go in and you end up sitting in front of a microphone, and you hear this beautiful song that he's put together, and this arrangement that moves you like nothing else, and you're just glad to be where you are. And then, you know, and have him walking around going, okay, can we do just two more? and I'm happy to do that because it's all about just being present, which I've learned from this guy. You know, it's about being where you are right now and making the best of that moment. And that's what he does.
Yeah, I find that when you're making music, you can think of things in terms of the optimal scenario. And you think, well, I have to get back to that person, I have to send some plane tickets, I have to work on. And at that moment, you might get all the parts together in the right place, but the mood is not really what you need to glue it all together. Sometimes you just have to snatch it. Ruthie sings a song that I once wrote called Thanks for the Joy. And sometimes we take turns opening the show, but we've decided on this tour that Ruthie would start, and she just serves up the joy so hard and so beautiful that when I get on stage, it's like, it's so warm and cozy up there. The joy is floating around the room like, you know, pink clouds. So that's what we're doing. We're just spreading some joy.
You know, one thing I can say is just be who you are, because, you know, it's just not worth trying to be anything or anyone else. It's fine to have those influences, and that's how you get to being your original self. But just be who you are, and then sing and play what you know, and it'll grow from there.
Yeah, I agree completely. I couldn't say it more clearly. It's so important to be truthful to your own self, because we're all individuals, even though we come from a collective, a tradition that's a product of a community. But still, as individuals, it's our responsibility, I think, to be ourselves and put our little stamp on something bigger than the sum of the parts.
You might slip, you might slide, stumble I believe it's true. I can't never let nobody drag me around.
Drag your spirit down.
Well, we're walking up to heaven. Don't let nobody turn you around.
Some say yes,
Yeah.
some say no. Some wait to see which way the wind's gonna blow. Don't you let nobody drag your spirit down. You keep on walking on forever. Don't let nobody turn you around.
Hi, I'm Ruthie Foster,
I'm Eric Bibb,
and you've been watching this special on
BMA Network.